I'm Coco. So today, y'all, let me tell y'all what I'm doing. I'm actually sitting around waiting for actually like 2 o'clock to get here because I left from home early thinking that my appointment was at 11 o'clock and come to find out it was not. So I got up here and I had to wait, got in the place, and they was like, no, we can't even see you till the time that you're supposed to be seen. And not only that, I called my doctor. I said, well, let me see if they can see me because I got an appointment with them too tomorrow. And so they couldn't see me either. So I'm pretty well got stuck here, and I had myself some lunch and just sitting here at the park thinking about how good God really is to us and how we should continue to trust God with our all in all, and how a changed mindset is so powerful. It's so powerful. My situation didn't change, but my mind toward my situation changed. Okay? And that's something that I think that when you are a believer, contrary to what a lot of people say, oh, don't feel it, don't claim it and stuff like that, you're going to feel it. You'll feel it whether you claim it or not. You will feel what you're going through. Y'all, I'm trying to get comfortable here. But the beautiful thing about what God does is He will allow us to use those emotions for our good. Like when I came on a few weeks ago and I was going through this big thing that I was going through, I need something proper on. And it was disturbing. It was nerve-wracking. It was horrifying. It was scary. It was heartbreaking. It was so many different emotions at the same time that while I'm trying to tell people stuff, they actually saw what they wanted to see. So sometimes you have to leave people to their own imagination, because no matter what you say, they just going to believe what they want to believe. But anyway, after 2 weeks of dealing with this tormenting that was going on, dealing with these emotions, dealing with this situation, I made up in my mind that I said, hold it. I'm waiting on the answer from God. While I'm waiting on the answer from God, there were certain steps that I had to do, which was, one, get my rest. I had to make sure that I got some rest. And so if that's where God put me at that time, if that's where He put me at to get rest, that's where He put me at, because it did get me back on track. Got me where I was going back to sleep early and everything. And the next thing He wanted me to do was get back to living. That meant getting up, doing the things you're supposed to do for the body, and going to places I'm supposed to go. Instead of walking in fear, go and keep living. So He put people in my path to remind me that I needed to keep living no matter what. Situation may never change, but keep living. The situation may get worse before it gets better, but keep living. And so that power of the mind, it goes for just how much faith you have in you. If your faith is running low, you may feel as if you can't do it, as if you can't change how you feel towards something. For me, my faith got a little low when it first happened. And I guess this was because I had already been running for so long. And when I felt the dip in my faith, I knew then that I needed to get back to a place in God. I knew then that somewhere along the line I got off track, and that I had to get back to God. And so going to church, scriptures and all that, it really helped me to read scriptures, not just pertaining to the situation I was going through, but pertaining to other things. I had to do something. I had to study other stuff to take my mind off of what I was going through. Because if you sit there and blow it up, then where do you have room for God? And so I just am a firm believer that if I blow God up, He will blow these situations up. I'm just a firm believer that my tears are not in vain and that God is going to do what He got to do concerning my situation. But I must do what I have to do to keep a healthy mind, healthy spirit, and healthy body. But what I found was that you can't be around people who are so easily excited and scared. The situation I've been going through, it started way before. I didn't have time to be scared. I didn't have time to be excited about it. But as it began to get bigger and bigger, and at some point, I guess I did take my eyes off of God and start looking directly at the situation, and that caused chaos to start happening. But once I got my mindset together, which it took me getting out of my house, it did. It took me getting out of my house. It took me doing something different to pull my mind back together. Now, when I say pull my mindset, change my mindset, I'm not talking about mental illness here, okay? I'm talking about spiritual things. I'm not talking about PTSD. I'm not talking about depression or any of that stuff. I'm talking about spiritual things. Like, there's a mindset that God wants us to have, and we have to pull it together in those times when we feel afraid and stuff. And I still think that I did the right thing by getting out of my home. I still say that was God. God ordained that I needed to get out the home. And it was a good thing I did, because stuff did still keep going on. Stuff did get worse. It still got worse. And so God just had to strengthen me up, and I just had to get my strength not from home. I need to get out of that environment for a while so I could hear what God was saying for me to do and how He wanted my mind to operate. So in order to get your mindset where it needs to be, you have to take your eyes off of your problem and put your eyes on God. And that's what I did. And so when I finally went back home, it's like I've been renewed in the strength. My mind has been renewed. The way I'm looking at this situation, I look at it different now. It's totally different from what it originally was. So I guess I just come on to encourage somebody that look at your situation differently. Look through it as if you look through it in the eyes of faith. Oh, I want to start doing stuff now. I'm sorry, y'all. I start doing. Look at it through the eyes of faith. And I'm talking about faith in God. Knowing that God can heal, God can set free, God can deliver. You got to change your mindset. If you don't have a mindset to be, to survive, you don't have a mindset to speak life over yourself, to encourage yourself, then you are in a bad place. And I thank God that, my tears and stuff came, and I had to tell what I had to tell. That was a confession for me, what I told a few weeks ago. That was a confession because, see, I've been going through stuff for a while now, but I just never said anything about it. I just kept all that stuff to myself. And then finally when it came out, it did come out as tears and stuff, because it's hurtful when you got to go through things like that and you're going through it. You got God with you, but you want a human that you could talk to too, So that was just my confession as to where I was at in life and, what was going on with me. That's what I had to do. And I prayed on it and I asked God about it, and He said, yes, go ahead and tell it. Because eventually, somebody else is they're gonna let it know that they've been going through the same thing too, because these people, they don't just do it to one person. They do it probably to everybody that, they know. Anybody that doesn't go along with what they want you to go along with, you probably getting it done to you too. And no, you're not going crazy. It's really things that are happening. We just have cruel, mean people out here. We have people that aren't considerate of others, but we still are to pray for them and trust God with their lives as well. Now, we can't fix or change their life for them, but we can be godly examples. So when you change your mindset, power. Oh, excuse me, y'all, for the yawning. But there's power when you change your mindset. Like, I have a mind to go home and live in my house in peace. You know, that's a mindset. Because if you sit there and think, well, when I go home, this gonna happen, that gonna happen, guess what? It is. Because you're speaking that into the air. So, you just gotta have a positive, healthy mind. And there's a lot of thinking errors out here that people do have, including myself. Look, I done been in therapy since 2018. I did graduate from a support group, and I did how you say it, get discharged out of other therapy groups. And one thing about it all is that I learned is that you just have to adapt having a healthy mind, period. And you have to adopt it, and I'm going to tell you why. And you have to reinforce it, reinforce it, and keep forcing it. Because the flesh wants to believe what it want to believe. The flesh want to do what it want to do. The flesh want to hear what it want to hear. And because of all this flesh is trying to cause so much chaos, it's going to make you feel chaotic. So what you have to do is you have to take control of that situation. What I did in my situation, I changed my mindset toward it. I said, you know what? I'm going to go and do what I need to do. I'm going to go home, take my bath, go to church. I'm going to go live life. My mindset is to live. And that's what I changed my mindset to do. I'm going home and do my everyday things that I do, my chores, my studies, my Bible studies, cook for my family, my grandkids, do what I do for my peaceful times and whatever. And I'm not going to stop doing it because people want to try to scare me into being who they want me to be. So my mindset is to live the life that God has given me and live it to the fullness. And once you change your mindset, you have power to do these things. You have the power to do these things. You just got to walk it out. All right, y'all. So that's what I'm just coming on to say, is that you have the power within you. You believe in God. You have faith in God. Then you have the power within you and the authority to take back your life, to get back your power, get back to living. I remember when I was in a domestic violence relationship, I spent the majority of my young years in domestic violence relationships, not realizing that the whole time there was choices. There was choices there. There was a mindset I could have adapted, but I didn't know. The whole time there was a life waiting for me, but because I felt so limited in who would love me or who would want me, that I stayed stuck. I stayed stuck for years. I was in freeze mode, as they call it in mental health. Freeze, flight freeze, fun, and what's the other fight? Freeze. I forgot what the other one is. Flight, freeze, fun. That's one more. I didn't forgot what it is. But anyway, that's a stress response. The different stress responses, we talked about it on Kiva Advancement Empowerment Podcast for women. And we're going to talk about those other stress responses too tomorrow, as a matter of fact, Wednesday. But I was in the frozen mode. Like, I was just stuck there, thinking the same old thoughts, wearing the same old clothes every weekend, traveling down the same old road. I was stuck, and it was by choice. I had set being stuck as a default, instead of looking at it saying, you know what, you're not a part of my life. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be in this domestic violence relationship like this. Instead, I stayed there stuck because I didn't have the mindset to move on. And if you're going to wait for the mindset to come, guess what? It ain't going to never come. That's about like a kid that steady asks their parents something, and the parents say, tomorrow, I do it tomorrow, and then the kid said, but tomorrow never comes. That's true. Tomorrow never comes. So you have to get up and you have to take it right now. Take it right now. Take it. Take your life right now and live it to the best that you can live it. Your best, don't even compare it to somebody else's best. Because somebody's best right now may be actually sleeping under a bridge. You can't compare what a best life is. Somebody's best right now may be actually somebody sleeping in their car. This is my best right now, but it's not where I'm going to stay. So that's why I'm saying that you have to take it yourself. You have to change your own mindset. Nobody can do it. Listen, your body is going to respond to what you tell it. And that's what I had to tell myself. I had to say, girl, you can't stay like that. I know it hurt. Sometimes you got to baby and love on yourself. Say, I know it hurt. I know it hurts. But you got to get back up. You got to eat. I probably did not eat much last week or the week for the 2 weeks. I didn't eat much. And I finally got to sleeping, but that first week I didn't sleep at all. Like, it was just like constantly staying up and just staying on guard. And one thing you can't do, you can beat your mindset, but your body when it's tired, you can't beat that. You can't beat a tired body. If your body's saying, I need rest, it's gonna mess with you until you get that rest. So I finally went on to sleep, and the more rest I got, I started thinking clearer. I started becoming clearer. I started realizing that you're running from home. That's your home. That's your home. And so I had to gain back my power and get back in my mind that I'm going home. I'm going to love my home. I'm going to thank God for my home, and I'm going to live in my home. And that's all I could do is I could just live there, live in my home. So that's what I did, and that's how I took my power back. For me, was by going on home and started living. I stopped waiting, looking around for stuff to happen or little defaults here and there. I know people watching and listening to me even now. And I just got to a point I made up in my mind, well, maybe if they see how hard it is for me to wash my body and to what I really go through in my struggles, then they might not be having mercy on me. But when God changes them, maybe they'll have mercy on the next person. Could be their auntie, their grandma, could be something. And I just look at it as it hurts. Yes, it does hurt, but I can't stop living because of what's going on. But I can do what I can do and let God do the rest. God will let me know what I can do and cannot do. I can't change people's hearts. God can do that. I can't control people what they want to do, how they want to do it. That's not my problem. That's another God issue. What I can do is offer an opinion. I can tell somebody something off an experience that I've been through. But I'm not trying to force anybody to be anything. I'm not trying to force anybody to be saved or anything. I just want you to know that the same God that worked for me can work for you too. But it's up to you to want that. The same God that healed my mind can heal your mind too. And I think so many times we get so caught up in religion. So many people are caught up in religion that they don't even recognize when a person is in spiritual warfare. So many people are caught up in their own mind games that they can't distance themselves from a real problem that somebody else is having, from their own problems. See, the problem is God will put you in a position to do a certain thing, but what happens is you begin to take on this problem as your own. And that's what we can't do. We can't take on problems that are, God gives us assignments, he gives us roles. Like me. I'm going to say like me, for example. God gave me a beautiful gift of listening and able to help people get from day to day, encouraging others. God gave me a beautiful gift of teaching, which I have been doing since I was a little tad, y'all, since I was a little kid. I love teaching. I always would have my sisters and brothers as my students and stuff. It's just something that I love to do. But I can't take my eyes off of my assignment to mix it with mine, with what I got going on. So when God puts you in a role, when I'm teaching Kiva, I can't take Kiva and make it all about me, or tell y'all this is what you ought to do based upon what I went through. Because that would be such error. That would be such error right there. Because it wouldn't lead nobody to Christ. It would lead people to try to do what I did to get out of a situation. So I found that you got to have a mindset to set apart things and set apart from people. And that's what I did. Once I got home, material things, I'm not afraid to lose material things. Sentimental things, I'm not even afraid to lose sentimental things. And God knows my daddy had some stuff I really loved. But people came around there, they stole my daddy's stuff and all that. And I couldn't let the sentimental be so deep that I lost me in the process. So I had to have a mindset that God will provide. Vengeance is the Lord. You don't got to do nothing. These people suffering. Gonna have to pray for them. Gotta pray for them, but they suffering. They suffering. That's why they doing so much badness. It's because they suffering. And so for me, getting into the mindset of God, letting God just take me and walk me through day by day, not even thinking about tomorrow or the next day, but just getting through today. I'm very thankful that God changed my mind when he did. Because if God had not stepped in, but if I had not left from home, now, I'm not saying you're not going to have to leave from home ever. Because if I had stayed at that house, I couldn't have got that fresh, clear understanding of what God was trying to tell me and what he was trying to do. I had to leave from home. I had to be uncomfortable. I had to be in a position of fear so that I would run back into his arms. I had to get pushed into that position. I was put in that position, and I thank God that finally at the second week, because sometimes we can take longer than 2 weeks to figure out what it is we're supposed to be doing. But finally, I got it. I said, okay, Lord, I see what you're doing here. And I changed my mindset. Now I know when I start feeling like that I can change my mindset. That I have the power to change my mindset. The power to say, I feel better, or God, you can take this. Y'all, it's getting hot in here. Now I feel better because I have the power to take back what the enemy tried to take from me, which was my peace of mind. And you have that power too. All you got to do is grab hold of it and say, I have peace. I am in a peaceful place. And pray for those who persecute you, slander you, or try to hurt you, do ill will to you. Pray for them. Pray that God bless them. Pray that God will heal them. Pray that God will set them free from their pain and misery. Because most of the time, when you see people hurting others, it's because hurt people hurt people. And that's the truth. Hurt people do hurt people. So keep them in your prayers. Don't try to retaliate. Don't try to take things in your own hand. But change your mindset toward that situation. I said, okay, God, this thing is bigger than me. It's more people than me. One me. One me. So I said, Lord, you do it. You do it. I trust you to do it. I trust, giving over what I could be in the flesh for who I am in the spirit. I trust you, God. And I did. And so even now I'm still praying for everybody, and I'm still trusting God now. And I'm like, even this broadcast right now is so funny, y'all, because I'm gonna tell y'all something after I get this camera set back up. Let me tell y'all something. Today my appointment was for 11:15. It really was. And I told my daughter yesterday, I said, okay, they changed my appointment to 11:15. But when I get up here, the woman says that, no, we can't see you till 2:30. And so I'm like, okay, fine. We got something to eat now, can't hear at the park. And then all of a sudden, God lays in my heart, come on and talk about the mindset. Talk about changing of the mindset. So you cannot put mental disorders in the same category as the spirit of the living God. Okay? That's the number one thing where people mess up. I never forget, my last counselor was a spiritual therapist. She was a spiritual therapist, but she couldn't stop cussing. She couldn't stop throwing her fears around. And I was like, this is the wrong person for me. And then she would try to use scripture to keep me in bondage or to kind of fill me up with certain different things. And you have to have discernment. So I'm just telling somebody that you cannot compare a textbook to the power of God. Okay? Because you're going to get it wrong. You got to be led by the Spirit, because a lot of times people get it wrong. People thought I was having a PTSD breakdown ever since August. No, or is it May? Something happened in May. I don't remember exactly what it was. But anyway, they've been thinking it's been the mental thing of me. But what people don't realize is I work mentally out. I never stopped doing, just because I don't go to a therapist don't mean that I stop taking care of my mind. I never stop taking care of my mind. My mind is where my peace is. To lose my mind would mean that I don't trust God. And that's a lie from hell, because I do trust God. Now, I understood when I was going through PTSD, and I always said God allowed me to go through that for a reason, so that I can help others that go through it. But when I was going through PTSD, that was PTSD. That was things going on that had a lot to do with the imagination, had a lot to do with the eye sensories, had a lot to do with the ears, and it was a lot that goes on with PTSD, okay? So let's not make a mockery of PTSD. A lot goes on with that. But criminal activity is different, okay? Let's get that straight. Criminal activity is totally different from someone who has PTSD. PTSD is a condition, or PTSD too is a condition. It's a mental condition that occurs after a horrific event or some type of event happens, and it brings back flashbacks, and it puts you in that time. It puts you in that past time. Okay? And some people they have symptoms that occur from time to time. But I haven't been having symptoms in almost a year and a half like that. Not like this, no. What happened to me was criminal. My tears were real because of the people who did it. Okay? Because of the people who did it. So, let's go. When you have people that come in and tell lies about somebody being suicidal who is not suicidal, you're putting stuff on my character, on my name that isn't true. That's not true. But what is true is that some criminal activity has been happening to my stuff, and people breaking in my home, in my car. That's what is true, okay? The thing is, can we catch them? Well, we'll see. The thing is, what am I willing to do once they are caught? By me being a child of God, what am I going to do? Do I forgive? Do I forget? Do I get mad? Do I get angry? In my heart already, I've already forgiven. I've already forgiven because hurt people hurt people. I've already forgiven. And that's what gave me my strength when I said, well, Lord, I forgive them. My confession came first. My talk with God came second. My forgiveness came before the situation was even finished. Because in my heart, I know the God I serve. So when some of the people was inboxing me and telling me about, you having a mental breakdown and stuff. No, you should see what a mental breakdown looks like. When I had a mental breakdown, I'm going to tell y'all what that looked like for me. I lost my complete memory. Okay? When I started going through PTSD stuff, I lost a big portion of memory that I have since regained a big portion back. And then even regained memory back that I didn't even realize that was lost, y'all. I regained back taste buds for stuff, and I gained forgiveness in my heart. But see, the thing is, when we walk in the flesh, you can't see that on a person. You can't see that on a person. And just because I don't talk about it all the time like that, why would I keep blowing it up? God put me in a position where you don't have to blow stuff like that up. I got other things that I want you to blow up that I can make your name great. God can make my name great. So I when he gives me a season to take something higher or to put it public, I put it public. But if he ain't saying put it public, no, I'm leaving that stuff alone. Because I'm getting into territory where I'm not supposed to be. Okay? Dude, please do not. He blew his nose. He did it. Okay? So I'm getting into territory where I'm not supposed to be. So I just thought I would just come on and talk about that. Because there's a big difference between walking in the spirit and walking in the spirit of anxiety and depression. Okay? And walking in PTSD. It's a big difference. What you saw me doing was a woman crying out for help. Have I stopped crying out for help? No, I'm just doing it differently. It just got to the point that day where my eyes couldn't hold the water. I've been holding the water. But that day my eyes just couldn't hold it. It just couldn't hold it. And it came out and I felt relieved. That same day I was able to go do some stuff that I never would have thought of doing, that God laid in my heart. So, a changed mindset. I couldn't accomplish anything without God. But when I changed my mind on how I feel toward people and toward situations, it gives me power and it gives me life. I can't change other people. I can pray for them. And you got to have a mindset to pray for those who dislike you. You got to have a mindset to pray for those who are doing ill will stuff to you. You got to have a mindset for that. That's not something you can just jump up in the flesh and say, well, I'm going to do. Well, yeah, you can do it, but is it in the spirit? Because if it ain't in the spirit, it ain't going to change a thing. It ain't going to change a thing. Anybody can pray. Even the devil prays. And he prays. Anybody can pray. But if it's not in the spirit, and most of all, if it's not according to God's will, if it's not in his will, then you're going to be in the spirit of error. Yeah, I'm ready to get my hair done. And I'm just saying, because I was thinking about that for a whole week. I said, wow, people who I thought really knew me already had their mind made up about who I was. I went through a season of mental issues, but never lost my faith in God. Now, mind you, never lost my faith in God. Every battle I have been through, I have overcome by the blood of the Lamb. And some of y'all's testimonies, you know what I'm saying? I have overcome. So, knowing that, I know this is this is going to be an overcome situation. It's already done situation. But the fact that we have people out here that is, y'all, I'm sorry. After you shit for so long, your butt just gets sore. The fact that I had people out here that I thought was praying for me, they were praying the wrong prayers for me. They were praying, Lord, keep on mine. Well, I wouldn't say that's the wrong prayer, but in their mindset, my mind was gone. And they wasn't feeling where I was coming from. But Fru did. Fru knew exactly where I was coming from. And how did they know this? Because they had been through some situations similar. So, I just thank God for, oh, my shirt turned, no. I just thank God for all, and I hope that anything that I said today, if you can't grab all of it, grab something from it that if you keep your eyes on God, He will keep you in perfect peace, and He will help you with the changing of your mindset. You got to stop blowing up the devilish stuff and start blowing up the godly stuff. Now, confession is one thing, but when you constantly blow it up, when you constantly glorify in the bad things and you don't glorify in the things of God or the good things that's going on around you. I got granddaughters. They were still doing stuff. How would I look sitting around my granddaughters moping and crying and say, I couldn't do it. I couldn't let that spirit fall down on them. I couldn't let that type of spirit down for them. Because I'm a woman of life. I'm a woman of faith. And I wasn't fit to do that. So when I sat around my grandbaby, you know what happened? When I got ready to leave in them 2 weeks, when I got ready to leave in them 2 weeks, I want to show y'all something. Hope y'all can see. I don't think you can see it. But, when I got ready to leave, from down there Monday, or was it Sunday? Sunday. I want to show y'all something. I don't know if you can see it or not. But watch this car. I don't know if you can see it or not. But anyway, when I got ready to leave from there Sunday, and I had already started telling my daughter, I think it was Friday, when God laid in my heart, go home and be at peace. And I kept telling my daughter, I said, I'm finna go home. I'm finna go home. And she's like, okay, Mom. And so Friday night came, I stayed with her. Saturday night came, I stayed with her. And I was already taking my stuff back to my house and already had then started back cooking. As a matter of fact, Sunday morning, I cooked breakfast at my house. And I told her, I said, I'm going to stay home. My home is meant to be lived in. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to live in it. And so, during that time, I just knew God was already doing some stuff. He was already doing some stuff. But I lost my train of thought, though, y'all. Because that car distracted me. But I do know that God can do the most with your situation. And so I'm going to leave it at that because I lost my train of thought on what I was going to say. But I will say this. Y'all follow me on Facebook. My Plus Size Grandma Reality Show podcast. I think it's got podcasts on it on Facebook. So, but it's still My Plus Size Grandma. So y'all come on over there and follow me because I'm finna go live over there too. Since I'm sitting here, I might as well, try to encourage somebody. Okay. It's almost, okay, I got another hour to go. Whew. Somebody pray for me. But keep God first. Okay? Keep God first. And even when you get off the straight path, you find yourself on some crooked thinking or some negative stuff, just say thank you, Jesus. Because I'm telling y'all something. Just telling God thank you for real can put you back on the right path. He wants us to have a thankful Thanksgiving in our heart. And you need to have that. And so just being thankful and start doing stuff for other people that can help you. I know what I was going to say now. But my grandbabies were so happy with me being there. And my daughter was too. They didn't even realize, we didn't even talk about why I was there. That's how good God was. And when I got ready to go, it was like I was leaving, going to like a whole nother place, because everybody was like, oh, we don't want to see you go. We hate to see you go. You know, that's how it was. And so I made the best out of a bad situation because I changed my mind. I didn't lay there and glory in the bad things. Instead, I gloried in the things of God. I was appreciative and thankful for my family, and you know, and everybody was waiting on me to cook. I didn't cook the whole 2 weeks I was there, but you know what? As soon as I got home, I cooked Sunday dinner. I did a lasagna. And then last night, I invited them all up for chicken and rice. So I'm trying to tell y'all, what I'm trying to tell you is, you only have what you say you have. If you believe that you don't have nothing, if you believe that God can't fix your problems, then that's where you're going to be at in life. But if you believe that God can and God will, because God does, and we've seen God do it over and over again, then you will have still a great life. You may have a hard life, but it's going to be a good, great life. Okay? All right, y'all. So I got to go so I can get on Facebook. I'm going to talk on Facebook for about 30 minutes, maybe. And peace, love, happiness, y'all. Oh, did I show y'all my plate? Y'all don't want to see this plate. Y'all don't want... Oh! Hold up. Slaw got a drip going on here. I did not like this plate, y'all. Like, it smells so good, but it was nasty. I was choking in everything. I was choking in everything off this plate. Alright, y'all, so I'm going to let y'all go on. Ooh, let me put this in the bag. I don't want this stuff to waste all on my car. Oh, no. Oh, I didn't got my shirt. That woman gonna say, girl. All right.